Now, isn't this quite shocking? I did not expect to see my Taizai greatness out on a Saturday. Early Saturday, to be exact. So, whoa. It was shocking to see Fairy Tail out early, but it's even more shocking to see Taizai out. I'm like, the fuck is going on here? Like, whoa. So, this chapter of Taizai, to be honest, it's a very simple chapter. Like, there's not much room for me to really theory craft about this chapter. I mean, I can discuss it. I mean, I can discuss it, but don't expect this video to be as long as it normally is, because this chapter is really simple, because it pretty much just focuses on the romance of Diane, King, Elizabeth, and also Meliodas. That's pretty much the main focus of this chapter, with some other, romance building up, but that is majority of what this chapter is about, along with some very subtle foreshadowing, or technically not subtle, because, I mean, majority of us are probably, reading Taizai at this point most likely knows the foreshadowing abilities of Taizai, and so we really key in on the dialogue. So, technically, I guess it's not subtle, because I instantly keyed in on some of the dialogue in this chapter that was like, oh, well, that just makes the theories and mysteries deepen even further. But anyways, so, chapter 110 of Taizai. I mean, feels just yesterday we hit chapter 100. It's hard to believe. But anyways, this chapter, overall, some shocking reveals. Like, there was 2 big bombshells that were just dropped on us with this chapter. Like, I never expected these certain drops with the romance, because it definitely clears up the shipping couples. Like, the couples, the shippings of the different pairs, which this chapter settles at, which I respect, because we don't want another reenactment of what happened at the end of Naruto, do we? So, anyways, pretty much we find out that Diane loves King, and I'm like, fuck yes, yes! I'm sorry. I had to, okay? That's how I was when I saw this in the chapter. I'm like, yes, fuck yes, yes. I'm sorry, okay? Let's just be real here. If my theories are not right about Meliodas and, Elizabeth, maybe Elizabeth not being the daughter of Meliodas, at the very least we know for a fact those two were going to be a couple, okay? We knew for a fact. It was fucking obvious. It is. And I'm so glad Nakaba-sensei cleared the pairings up with this chapter, like, way before we go way off into the future. Like, oh my god, I'm glad it was settled at this point. Like, Diane loves King, and I'm like, that's how it should be. That is fucking how it should be, because, I mean, King sacrificed a lot of his time to raise Diane a long time ago, like, 200 plus years ago, and I mean, she forgot about it, but she remembered when she was at the verge of death, as we know, around chapter 71? I think it was chapter 71. Pretty much when she was about to die, she remembered everything, in which explains her turnaround with her feelings towards King. And so, to see this, quite shocked. Quite fucking shocked. And I'm like, yes! Because this means that King will have some form of romance, and he won't have to be alone. He won't be lonely. Because at the moment, let's be real here, in the forest he's currently at, where King is, he's very lonely. He really is. He had to kill his friend, his best friend, 3 fucking times. His entire nation and elves and fairies pretty much hate him. And so, you have to feel bad for him. So I'm really glad something is going good for King. I am. I'm unbelievably happy to know that Diane has recognized King's feelings, and, she's going to return those feelings. But what makes it sad about this chapter is she says, like, I'm really pissed off because he left me again before I was able to tell him how I truly feel. And when I saw that dialogue in the chapter, I'm like, fuck. But this is good, because that means that we're going to get to see the romance progress between them, and that makes me hype. That makes me so fucking hype. Oh, okay. Another thing, too, was the maturity. The maturity of Diane and Elizabeth's conversation. I have to respect Diane for that. Just because Diane loved Meliodas, or loves King now, doesn't mean that love or romance will fade. And I really respect Diane for actually respecting what Elizabeth thinks about Meliodas. I respect that so much. It makes me gain so much respect for Diane's character when I see her trying to help out Elizabeth at the end of this chapter. And it just shows you the connection between those two characters, how they've had this bond since the very beginning of Taizai, and then once again we get to see this obvious bond growing between them, and I love it. I fucking love that. It's been an apparent thing for the course of the journey of this series, and I'm glad that bond never fades between Elizabeth and Diane. And pretty much Elizabeth announces, she actually says in this chapter, not to anyone besides Diane, but she says that she does love Meliodas, and that's a massive ass bombshell. You're like, oh shit, like that's a big ass bombshell. So to see Elizabeth announce this, if my theory is, you know, technically incorrect, that they will be a couple, like I said, but we'll have to see. But the thing was, okay, besides the aspects of those two, we have other romance pairings going on, which only had like a couple panels. It wasn't much, but you can clearly see the shipping and the couples going on in this. And so it's kind of cool. Like, you get to see Grimoire and, you know, Veronica, Hauser talking about Diane, and then you got the entire event with Margaret and Gil Thunder. I love the romance there. I was like, fuck yes, yes. I mean, Taizai is not just about the romance, but I love how Nakaba-sensei actually takes the time to develop this romance, because it's believable. In time we get to the end of the series, we'll have some really good conclusive romance couples, and I'm like, yeah. So to see that, I'm happy. Fucking happy to see how the romance is being handled in this chapter. We're taking some time to actually develop these couples, at the exact same time dropping some little shells and foreshadowings in certain panels. Like, I felt it very weird. Like, there's a couple panels in this chapter that were really weird. And Taizai usually does this. It does these type of panels that are really out of place, and you don't understand at the time they first come out until 20, maybe 100 chapters later. And the thing was, in this chapter, there was a panel with a tree and the wind, and you see these leaves falling. And what's very interesting, I did with that panel, like when I looked at the panel, there's 4 panels, and they're pretty much all linked together, and they're leaves. If you count the leaves that are disconnecting from the tree, there's 7. I'm not joking. There's 7 leaves that come from the tree when you see the tree have the leaves come off. It's not easy to notice. You have to really count them and look at it closely, but the leaves that are separated from the tree are 7. Interesting. Very, very fucking interesting. So, I have to say, I am just happy with this chapter. It's a really good chapter. It's like the calm before the storm. Maybe that's what the tree symbolizes. The calm before the storm blows in and fucks everything up. Because we know for a fact this was probably one of the last happy chapters we're going to get for a little bit. Because you have the Demon Clan's resurrection. You have it to where they're going to Edinburgh or whatever to probably go meet Escanor. That's probably going to wreck their shit, which I cannot wait to see that shit. I cannot wait to see Escanor, man. He's going to be in this month. He's going to be revealed this month, according to the mangaka that I mentioned in an article like 3 months back. So, I'm looking forward to Escanor's first appearance. I just, you know what would be fucked up, actually, I just realized? If they're going to Edinburgh Castle, okay? They don't know technically Escanor's there. What if Escanor works for them? Oh, fuck. Oh, God, dude. I just, like, fuck, man. Because I just, never mind. Let's just throw it out there. I don't want Escanor to be evil. I don't, man. I don't want him to be fucking evil. Merlin can be evil, but not Escanor. I want to see the Sin of Pride. I want to see it. And since he's a fucking vampire, I just want to see it. So, anyways, chapter. It's good. Very good. It also foreshadows Elizabeth and Meliodas' connection once again. And once again, it proves that she has some form of connections to Liz in the past. And so, we're left wondering, is she a reincarnation of Liz? Or is she the daughter of Meliodas? I mean, we have a lot of questions here, but that's another hint of foreshadowing we get in this chapter. So, that's pretty much this chapter. Great chapter. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.